Okie doke. Live on YouTube and Lahavdil Facebook. Okay, geweldig. Zakt the Gemara. Now you give them a base at the bottom. Tanarabanan. Mad big Adam turn of Imuksuvim Ke'achad Rabbi Meir. Rabbi Meir says you can make a mega Tanakh scroll. Gosh, that would be heavy. Rabbi Meir. Rabbi Yehuda Eimer no Tur b'fnei atzmon Avim b'fnei atzmon Uksuvim b'fnei atzmon. Rabbi Meir says you can make one big mega Tanakh. Rabbi Yehuda says you got to keep the ta, the na, and the cha separate. The Chachamim say you have to have every sefer separate. Which I think is the way it's done today. Are there any Eivs on cloth? Does anyone do that? Rav Yehuda? Rabbi Yehuda, meaning it's part of the Brisa. This is Rabbi Yehuda who says Nevi'im V'Atzman, and he said that the story Baitis ben Zainin had 8 Nevi'im together, and that was based on Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah, which would be a raya to him. Rashi says, and there are 8 Sefer Nevi'im, Yeshua, Shoftim, Shmuel, Malachim. And then, depending on your order, the classic order would be to say Yeshayahu, Yeshayahu. I think the classic order is Yeshaya, Yirmiyah, Chezkel, Treyasa. But the Gemara is going to have a very different order. Rebbe says that once brought before us a mega Tanakh, and we said it was kosher. I feel like this comes up in a sugya in Megillah. Yeah. Okay. So between the end of Sefer from Bereshit to Shemais and to Vayikra, 4 blank lines. Also, if you're making a mega Navi Sefer, then you would also have 4 lines in between each Navi. When it comes to Trasar itself, Gimel Shitin, that you have you'd have 3 blank lines between Hashaya, Yael, Ames, etc. There Rashi says Messiah Milamato Maschel. That was Rashi on the Gemara, which says Messiah Milamato Maschel Milamalo, which Rashi says means and then if you finish a sefer at the bottom of the page, you can start the next one at the very top of the next page, and you don't need to leave any blanks. Someone who wants to combine Torah, Nevi'im, and Ksuvim as one. Medabek, you can combine them. Amud, at the very beginning, it needs to be enough to wrap around just the pole that it's on. And at the end to wrap all the ray around. That if you finish one at the bottom, you start the next on top of that skipping. And if you come to, or maybe saying that you should do that. And if you are coming to cut it, then you can cut it. Micah Amar, what's that mean? So it means Sheimba. Micah Amar, my lememra. Kol moedim dim kol echav echav v'nei atzmei tzvei adeh. Hachi ka'amar maschem l'malav lei yaniach cholak sheim balachti chaysech v'nimtza zerei shekrach u'gnai lei FaceDaf zeh mishun mechaverei al chinam. Okay. So, someone had asked me about Arkai Yisrael al Kefa and stuff. Okay, so we're not up to that yet. Zok to the Gemara Vayt over a mini. We have a kasha. Tchila sefer v'soifai k'dei log. The beginning and the end of it should be enough to roll, which sounds like it's saying one shear, as opposed to right before, which gave different things. If it's enough to just wrap around the pole, kasha hekef, that's kasha on the brisa that said that you have to have at the end of it enough to wrap all the way around all the parchment. And if you need to leave it if we're saying that the brisa klei logo means all the way around, kasha amod, it's going to be shver in the beginning, according to the brisa. It's dadin katani. It's everything according to what it is. So therefore, when it says klei logo, at the beginning it would be klei logo amud, and at the end it would be kadei lagul hekef. Okay, gewaldig. Ravashi Amar Gedanya Sefer Torah. Ravashi said that's time I Sefer Torah. That's rolled around 2 amudim, and therefore it's going to be the same amount. Kedetanya Kol Asfarim Neglalim Etchilas on the Saifon. All Sfarim are rolled beginning to end. I know that people usually make a Megillah that way. And it can Amud on each side. For some reason, I feel that everyone does that for Nevi'im also. But why? Rabbi Eliezer, Rabbi Tzadok, that's what the Jerusalemite scribes would do. Rashi Sifrei on the Sifrei Torah that they would have 2 amudim. Okay. Tanu Rabbanan, this is the price I was asked about. Tanu Rabbanan, anyways, in Sefer Torah, we should don't make a Sefer Torah like Arka Yasser ala Keifa, like Keifa Yasser al Arkai, like Arka Yasser ala Keifa, Tarach Litzamtim Aksav, Evia Klofim, Lchig Marie, Chutamakevis, Ovik Midas Arkai. So, based on the thickness of the parchment that you're using, you should be either writing things to take up more space if it's thinner, or cramming them in if it's thicker, that you end up with a sefer that the height of it is the same as its circumference. So, here, I'm going to make a circle. I'm going to make the radius. This file over here is not showing edges, and that could be a little bit confusing. So I'm going to start a new template. I'm going to start a new file and work with that. All right. So we are going to take a scroll. How big is this scroll going to be? Here. Okay. Now what? Oh, that's cute. Ha ha ha. The radius was 0.5, and therefore the circumference is 3.14. So here we go. 3.14. And now we have something. That's 3.14. And that's 3.14. And for some reason, I expected it to be different. All right. So let's take... now, what would it be if the Eirech was more than the Hekef? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make a few copies of this, I guess. Whoa. Here. Now we have 3 Svarim. So this one over here, we're going to make it that the Eirech is less. This one over here, no, I want to do it kind of like this. All right. And I guess I'm gonna move this one's height. All right. So over here we have Archai, like this is not including any poles. So this would be the middle one is the good one, and I'm taking a picture for somebody who wants this. All right. There's picture number 1. Now, so not with the length, more. Oh, actually, this is a mistake. Both of these cases, the length is shorter than the width. If we want to have a length that's more than the width, we would have to actually make it even taller, like this. That would be if the length is more than the circumference. And this one all the way on the right would be if the circumference exceeds the length. So I'm going to update that picture right over here. And back to this. They asked Rebbe, how big should Sefer Torah be? Marlene said to them, Bigvil, if you're writing it on thick parchment, Shisha, 6 Tvachim. So Rashi, Sefer like. Yeah, sure. It's Sefer Torah b'kamar. How long should it be? B'gvil shu avik if I gadol tzach shisha tzvachim. So you mean aliyas nigmar b'shisha tzvachim hekav b'chsav beinoni. If you're doing it with thick cloth, it's going to end up having a great circumference. So you should make it very tall. Make it 6 tvachim. An amma. Actually, that's not so big. Big cloth become. What if using thinner cloth? Any day didn't know. Rav Huna kasav shivin sifrei deiraisa. Rav Huna wrote 70 sefer Torah of leis ramilei alachad. He only got one of them right. Ramilei kakakefai. Rav Achabar Yaakov kasav chad amashke deigli. Rav Achabar Yaakov wrote just one on calf skin. Vis ramilei, and he worked it out. It's ramilei arkakefai. Yavu beirabane naivanach nafshe. The rabbis looked at him, jealousy, suspicion. He died. The rabbi said to Rav Hamnuna, did you know? Kasav Rabbi Ami Daled Mea Sifrei Torah. Rabbi Ami wrote 400 Sifrei Torah. Amarlo, he said to them, Dilma Teretz Zivalanu Moshe Kasav. Maybe what he wrote was Teretz Zivalanu Moshe. Don't Teretz Zivalanu Moshe Rasha Kasav Arba Meas Pa'amim Aval Arba Meas Al Dal Mea Sifrei Torah. Because of the aim, what about silk screening? Amalei Rabbi Zera, Rava told Rabbi Zera, not Rabbi Yanai Arba Mea Karmi. Rabbi Yanai planted 400 vineyards. Amarlei said to him, Dilma, it was a bunch of mini vineyards. Maybe it was just 5 grapevines. a line of 2 with a parallel line of 3. Okay, and before I get any further in this, I'm just curious about Arkai and Hekefai, if it would be a Sefer Torah like the ones that we use. In other words, if I am going to take a let's take a Sefer Torah when it's rolled to the center. So now, this around is, I made it half of that, so the circumference now is half of pi. And if we create another parallel section, we end up also with pi 24. Let's do 96. Did I bring it together a little bit too close? Here, let's see if we can make them touch, but oh so barely. Here we go. Yeah, okay, good. So this says we're approximating pi over here. And it would be the same height as our other one. The height would be the maybe not. Maybe if I'm trying to calculate the circumference, I should be doing it like this way. That really what we're doing is like the circumference of a cylinder. In which case, right now I'm getting 2.54 as a circumference. Let's clean this up a little bit. Close it off. So this now, this one over here, the height was 3.14. So I'm going to do that to this one as well and make it 3.14. And now we can compare it to the to these ones over here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try to just, for comparison purposes, have it underneath it. So now, Let's move this one a little bit that way. This one a little bit that way. I guess I should have them side by side. All right, so this would be an example of Arkei Kehekefai. And this one over here that we have, the circumference is slightly larger. So we're going to clone this one. And in the same vein, we're going to make the circumference slightly larger. And over here, it's going to be the opposite, that we're keeping the same circumference, but we're making the height greater. And oops, there. Here we go. All right, well, let's just, oops, here, new picture. Okay, Frek the Gemara Akasha, about what we're saying about the dimensions of a Sefer Torah. Meisvei, Arain Sha'asa Moshe, the ark that Moses made. Yas B'Tzalel. Amosayim v'chetzi arkai. It is 1.5 amos long. That would be in this direction. The amma v'chetzi rachba, an amma and a half wide this direction. V'amma v'chetzi karmasai, and 1 amma and a half this direction, not including that crowniness. The amma b'shisha tfachim, this is the opinion of Rabbi Meir. V'haluchos arkan shisha v'rachban shisha v'avyan shleisha. Oh boy, let's do a cross section of the Arain. Ready, set, slice. Except that I don't think that we can understand what's going on in this cross section over here. Here, let's do it like this. All right, so over here we just chop the top of the Arain off, and we have the luchais inside of the Arain. And we're saying that because we chopped them, we're getting some weird visual artifacts. But the luchais we're saying 6 tfachim by 6 tfachim, which is 1 amma. Munachais, can I get arkai shel arain? The luchais are going across the arain this way. Kama luchais oichlais ba'arain. How much do the luchais take up? Shnei masar tfachim. Right, if each one is an amma, so 2 of them is going to be 12 tfachim. So out of the amasayim and a half, the arain is, right, 2.5 amas, which would be 6 and 6 is 12. Another half amma is 15. Semein tefach. So remove 1 tefach. Tefach for the walls of the box itself. You take out a half tefach for each wall, so that's minus a tefach. All you have left is 2 tefachim. Shaban Sefer Torah munach, that there's a Sefer Torah there. Shenemar ein bar and rak shnei luchais oavadim asher niach sham Moshe v'goymer. Ra'anan Mick Eichler, paging you over here. My ein ba'arain rak. What does it mean? There isn't in the arain except miut acher miut. It's an exclusion after an exclusion. Ve'in miut acher miut ela l'rabbis. A double miut is the rabbis. Lahavdil, right? If the first rule is we don't talk about Fight Club, and the second rule is we don't talk about Fight Club, then ein miut acher miut ela l'rabbis, and we talk about Fight Club. Come move on. The rabbi Sefer Torah shemurach ba'arain. This is including a Sefer Torah. That's in the Arain. And what I'm going to do actually is I am going to move this really, let's get the luchais a little bit lower down. I'm lowering the luchais in the Arain. So now when we do a cut through view, I want to lower that view. And we have to lower these luchais a little bit more. There, here we go. Now we got luchais all the way at the bottom. And you see this cross section. There's a Sefer Torah here. There's a Sefer Torah which is in the Arain that is fitting there. Pernasta Arin la'arkai. So we just went through the Arain lengthwise. Seyu parnas Arin la'rachbai. Now work out what it would need parnasa for its width. Kam luchas oichles ba'arin shisha tfachim. The luchas are their width is going to be taking up 1 amma, which is 6 tfachim, and the arin is an amma and a half. That means it would be 9 tfachim. So that means we have 3 left. Remove a tefach for this wall and that wall, a half tefach for each. That way the Sefer Torah shouldn't be squished. You should be able to take it out by having grabbing space on both sides of it, meaning here and here. Divrei Rabbi Meir. Let's see some Rashi. The Aflash Mikra. Let's see. Temiam tefach leviak solim sheimi b'chutzim daram asayim v'chetzi arkay. Sefer Torah shekasav Moshe K'moshe ne'amar v'echtev Moshe sa'torah hazois. Oh, es hashira. I feel like there's another pasuk that says v'echtev Moshe sa'torah hazois. Okay. Ein miut achar miut. Ach v'rak shne miutin ein shben Sefer Torah munach arka l'rach b'shal arayin. V'rasar on the arka klemmer ma'il ezekol chalal l'arka b'irasha tzarchem midasai. Shisha tzvachim b'midas arach by. What? What does that even mean? Sefer Torah claim relay tzarch liyisrach by kolkach elbshol Sefer Torah munach arka l'rechav ha'arin shlei nichas v'yetzi b'dai. Okay, that was Rabbi Meir's shita. Back in the Bryce and the Gemara, Rabbi Yehuda, I remember Amabas Chamisha Tfachem. No, says Rabbi Yehuda. The Arain is actually going to be measured with an Amma of 5 Tfachem. So for this, let's stop that sectional view, but let's take off the kaperes with respect so we don't end up like the Anshe Beis Shemesh. There's not going to be a Sefer Torah in the Arain according to Rabbi Yehuda, because the Arain is about to lose 2.5 tfachim. If an amma is only 5 tfachim, so 2.5 ammas would be 5, and 2.5 for a total of 12.5 as opposed to the 15. So now here's what's going to happen. We're going to take. Oh, I made a silly mistake, didn't I? This over here is golden. This is not the wooden box. This is the golden one. That is the Arain of 8s. These measurements are not to scale because this was designed for 3D printing, so the kapiras need the outer and inner boxes need to have a certain thickness to them, or else they wouldn't exist. So in Rabbi Yehuda's Shita, the Arain is going to shrink. Now, how big is this? It says over here. Oh, these are random numbers. Actually, there is a way to fix this, and that is the Arain is Amosayim V'Chetzi. The Arain is right 2.5 ames long. So if I click here and set it as 2.5, now everything should work out. Of course, now we have a different problem, and that is to cheshbon the tefach, which is going to be 1/5. Because this right now is in tefach, and that's the problem. So really, what I want to do, instead of saying that this is 1.5 or 2.5, I want it to be, I want to say the sheer tefachim that Rabbi Meir gave it, which was that the Arain is 15. Now that the Arain is 15, now we can do Shitas Rabbi Yehuda and start to, let's see, take this wall, and we're going to slide it over this way because we are losing 2.5 tefachim that way, and we're going to lose 1.5 tefachim that way. You can see the difference that made already, and you can also see that the luchais are just barely going to fit. Here, I'm going to move them over a mashahu. But the luchais are just barely fitting, and obviously in Rabbi Yehuda, the outer gold of the Aron would also be shrunken. But I am not going to do that right now. We're just going to look at it like this. So, Rabbi Yehuda Imer. Rabbi Yehuda agrees about the luchas being 6 by 6. How much are the luchas taking up out of the Arain? 12. All that's left is half a tefach for the walls, which are then got to be thinner than pictured here. Each of them is going to be not a half tefach, but a quarter tefach. Pirnas to Aron la'arka, that's doing it along its length. Tzeparnis Aron la'rach, but what about its width? Kam luchais oigdais or oichlais ba'aron. She should tvachim again. And now, how much is Aron across this way? It's 1.5 amma. That's going to be 5. Another 2.5. That's 7.5. The luchais are already eating up 6 of that. Mistar sham tefach u'mechza, leaving you a tefach and a half. And we already know that the walls are an etzba each, so you're going to end up with a tefach left over. Semi and chachi tefach. Etzba kaisel zeh ve'etzba kaisel zeh. Misharsham tefach sheboy amudin oimdin. And there are silver poles that are going to be in the Aron according to Shitas Rabbi Yehuda. I don't think I ever made silver poles for the Mishkan. What were these silver poles for? Possibly I've heard Amudim for the Sefer Torah. The Shita over here, this is part of the official Machzor in Brisk. The Shita brings that this is what the Kesef in the Mishkan was used for. Because it's the machta, meaning why donate any kesef in Parshas Truma if it's going to be that coming for the kesef is only used for the adonim and covering the amudim and all of that. Amudim meaning the pillars of the chutzner, and all of that is from the counting, not from a donation. What silver is donated? What's it needed for? So the Shita brings silver poles right here. Shenemar apirioin asolei hamelech Shlomo meyatzei alevanon. Hamelech Shlomo made a chuppah from Lebanon wood. Amudav asa chesef, pillars of silver. Refidasai zahav merkavai hargamon. Teichai ratzuf ahava. Zogt Rashi, Yebilayim Midas Arm Ambas Heitvachem, I say, below time to come around, Kalam Bas Kamishim, Lux Arkashal Aron, Mutalis, Arreichman, Veloyal Chudan, that the Luchas were not resting on their tip, they were lying down, just like Rabbi Meir has them. Etzba Gesel Zesh, Tavach Arbet Spoisum, Undergars, Etzba Mechzel, Etzba Katana Gamar, Tavach Dalit Big Godol. V'chomesh be'etzba v'sheish b'ktana shabay amud ma'imdim beis amud kesef k'men amud sefer Torah sheichem l'arkar v'aluchas beinei and shnamar amud avasa chesach. And what else is by the arin v'argesh a shigur by plishtim doyen l'lekeser amunach mitzidai, the box that has in it the golden mice and the golden hemorrhoids, which I have never 3D printed for the Mishkan yet. Veskei zahav asher shevay samloi asham betzima ba'argaz mitzidai v'shtachtam esai ve'halach munach shel mitzvah shel arayin ve'alav sefer Torah munach sefer Torah according to Rabbi Yehuda is resting on top of that chest. Ve'alav sefer Torah munach l'kmei parach mikarai chiyav munach shenamar l'kayach sefer Torah zeh. Take the sefer Torah. It sounds like Vayelech v'samtam. V'samtem I say mitzad arayin b'ris Adonai. Take the sefer Torah and put it on the side of the arayin. Mitzad hayamunach le'b'seicha. It was next to it. It was not in it. Yomani mekayim ba'arin rak. This pasuk says there's nothing in the arayin except for what about the poles? I don't understand. Because the broken luchas are also in the arayin. But I'm assuming the Mefarshim talk about this, but from Riyata, it would seem to me that the Mirachamiyat has to be doimed to the thing it's talking about. So it can't just be talking about silver poles. It has to be talking about something which is like the Luchais, either a Sefer Torah according to Rabbi Meir or a Shivei Luchais according to Rabbi Yehuda. Weiter. Back now, we're finally up to our kasha. If you're going to say a Sefer Torah, its circumference is 6. If you see what it is, if it has 3 tefachim in circumference, it's going to be a tefach wide. And because it's rolled to its center, it's going to be more than 2 tefachim. Because of the Ravcha, the Beini. So betray Rav the Mitray Tifcha Ravcha the Beini Beini betray Pushki Eichi Yosef. How is it going to fit in just 2 tefachim? Zokt Rashi Ravcha Berich of Tefach, so Shekef Shishan, and Tzavi Berich Bashet Tvach, and Rachel Beni Ubeni Avrish, Ben Amud La'amud. Over Trey Pushke Yosef, and then Nishai Sham based Tvachim, Sham Sefer Monach. Omer Vachabar Yaakov Sefer Azara L'Tchila Sayunigal. It's rolled to its beginning. Sefer Azara, Sefer Chakasam Maisha, Beikarin Bazara, Parashas HaMelech, Bahake Elvakan, Galbim Kippur, Chasunigal, and Layela, Amarachov Nigal, B'Tchila L'Saifai. Vakati Trey B'Trei Yosef. It still has going to fit exactly in the same place. Oh, Omer Rav Ashi dekarich beipurta v'karche le'el. That some of it was actually not bent, but left unrolled and sticking up, which is why if you ever come and see my epic 3D printed Mishkan model, you can see, there it is. It's the Sefer Torah, and you see that it is rolled with part of it sticking up. Now, when it says Rabbi Yehuda, the Gemara asks, Rabbi Yehuda says that the Sefer Torah is next to the Aron on the Plishti box, filled with golden mice and golden hemorrhoids. Mikami delese arge Sefer Torah. Mikami delese arge Sefer Torah Echi Yosef. Before the Plishtim had brought that box, where was Sefer Torah? And for the Gemara, the Menach Mitzad, it's like Kais of Leben Shnei Aluchos. We're not up to that one yet. There was a shelf coming out of the Aron. Whoa, that's late breaking. Was the shelf also covered with gold? How do you put one into the other? I'm sure Rabbi Myers talks about this in his classic Sefer, Rabbi Meir, I ruined my over there. But what's Rabbi Meir going to do with the pasuk that says you should put the Sefer Torah on the side of the Aron? How many boy lay the matnach le mitzad v'le matnach beni luchi u'lo'olim megavei minatzad. Rabbi Meir says no. When it says it needs to be on the side of the Aron, it doesn't mean on a shelf next to it. It means don't put it in between the luchais, as in having the Sefer Torah like here, and I'm going to move one luach over here. All right, so mitzad is telling you it's not centered, it's on the side. According to Rabbi Meir, these amudim, where were they? Mibarai, outside. It's like I saw them. How can you have the amudim there if they're going to minimize the space? I mean, Emma says they could be by the luchas, not by the Sefer Torah, right? Mechamed the Tosfos. The Pashut Hayalai Sheimunach Mitzad Risharon Sefer Torah Munach. Okay. Rabbi Meir Shevei Luchas to Menachem Ba'aron Minalei. Rabbi Yehuda has Midach Armiyah to bring Shevei Luchas into the Aron. Has Rabbi Meir know that? Nav Klei Midr Rav Huna Damar Rav Huna Ma'itich Sev Ashenikra Shem Adonai Tzavai Shiva Kruvim Allah. This is going to bring the Aron from Shilai, the Aron that has written the name of the Lord of Hosts. Shem Terzim Niksivi the Luchais L'Shivrei Luchais. Lamed Shel Luchais V'Shivrei Luchais Menachem Ba'Aron Ve'idach. What's Rabbi Yehuda going to do with that pasuk? Coming by Leilach Rabbi Yochanan, Rabbi Yochanan, Rishon Ben Yochem Lamed Hashem V'Cholkinu Menachem Ba'Aron. This teaches you that the names of God were also in the Aron. Ve'idach Nami Mibar Leilach. Well, wait a minute. Then Rabbi Meir is also going to need it for that. In Hachinami, Ela Shivrei Luchais Menachem Ba'Aron Minalei and Afkalim V'Tani Rav Yosef. Learns out from Rav Yosef. There's on Rav Yosef, Asher Shibarta V'Samtam, that you should, right? I mean, this is a drasha, that the words that you broke, and then you should put them in the Aron. Asher shibarta koiseru lemismachei v'samtam ledrasha. Interesting. Okay. Melamed shaluchas sheveluchas nachem ba'arin ve'idach and ba'leichas reish lakish domer reish lakish asher shibarta or darshaning asher like it says yasher. Oh my gosh, Baruch Lamoshe yasher keicha choshe shibarta. Your strength did well and should continue that way for breaking the luchas. Yasher keicha cholam and chashu min advarim shas Moshe ben Avodah mitayte v'skimatayte l'das hamakim. The next Gemara is about the I gotta talk about the order of Tanakh. I'm gonna stop over here for tonight. Shkaya.